Hello there, welcome to the channel, welcome back perhaps, hopefully, and here we are with another little experiment which is in service of building our pedal board, a little bit of playing around to give us an idea of how we might like to set things up. In this case it's whether we might prefer to have the space bender first or the dweller. On this side, the space bender, a new pedal which we recently did a deep dive on, so we won't be getting too much into the basic functionality of this thing. The dweller, one that we've had for much longer, and in fact we're recently revisiting a video from when we first started this channel, so over 4 years ago now. Yeah, this is an old favorite, possibly one of our very favorites, at least in terms of unique and interesting effects. That's something that goes for both of these pedals. The space bender as something that kind of does everything from chorusy kind of effects through to very highly modulated shorter delays, and the dweller, which has here a delay, here a phaser, and then when they're combined you get all kinds of amazing different effects. And we will dive in very soon to a brief look at the dweller, and then we will start combining them. Here, of course, in the middle we have, as you can probably see from the visuals here, a bit of an order switcher, which we had commissioned a little while back, and we will be seeing which we would prefer to go first in a chain. So, we may even actually already have this problem solved to some extent, but we still want to go ahead with the experiment just to see how these things sound, because it's just fun. Let's face facts. Pedals are fun. That's why we're here. All of us, I think. So, here's the sample that we'll be using. This is, at least at first, I should say. And this is our upper range, mid-range. That's mid in the EQ sense rather than the instrumental range sense of the contrabass clarinet. And this is the top, say, major third of the range that we currently have on the instrument. Here is the sample. And to start with the the dweller was actually on that, but that was the dweller. Okay, we'll do the sample one more time. And now with the phaser aspect of the dweller. On a sine wave there. And using the regen knob, then you can actually introduce some kind of slightly flanger-like effects there too. Now with the rate the depth all the way down, and also turn the rate down, we're into the delay territory. But until we turn the stretch up, So not a particularly characteristic delay, but yeah. So the other thing, what we're going to do now is we're going to add in the rate and depth of the phaser to show how this this effect works overall. That's the kind of sustain it offers. Also very pleasant at the slower tempos. And at faster stretch tempos or delay time tempos. But it's got a lovely textured quality to it that we really like. And it has three wave shapes, the sine wave, triangle wave, and also the random square wave, which is one of our favorites. Yeah. So a very subtle machine, really one that we have not explored as much as we would have liked to, even, or even understood as much as we would have liked to, because it is somewhat mysterious. You know, the relationship between the rate and the stretch, both kind of like time qualities. Yeah, very, very interesting. So yeah, we're going to go back to the sine wave for now, because the first thing that we want to do is do a comparison of the, or at least a combination, I should say, of the dweller phasing with the space bender flanging. And we may add some of the regen in there. At the moment, we have the dweller first and the space bender second. So let's have a listen first of all to what we've got going with the dweller at the moment. Do we want triangle wave maybe? Nah, sine. Let's add a little bit more regen for a little bit more of a washy sound. There we go. And the space bender we pretty much got set up for what we want already. Okay, so dweller first, space bender second. More of a chorusy kind of thing. Yeah, that's very nice. rhythmicness of the dweller being combined with that washiness. Some lovely overtones there, but then with the intensity. Okay, so that's the dweller first, space bender second. Let's try the dweller second and the space bender first and see what happens. Yeah, definitely the washiness of the duello, especially with that regen. Let's be evil. And back to the dweller first. Okay. Well, I would say that there's not one is better than the other. I liked the way that with the space bender first, the dweller kind of like brought more flavor to that flanger. I'm sorry, hold on. With the space bender first, I liked how the dweller brought more flavor to that flanger. So in that sense, I think I preferred the space bender first, but also having that washiness going on behind the flanger was quite interesting as well. Okay, well, we've still got the dweller first now, and what we want to do is we want to set up more of like a delay texture kind of thing with the dweller, that we then try the space bender after. So that's basically to say that we use the dweller for sustain, and we use the space bender to affect that. Now, first with the flanger, and then maybe we'll get a little bit more. Experimental with what we do with the space bender. But it would also be interesting to see how the space bender before the dweller's textural kind of thing sounds, what it contributes to that. So let's set up a texture of some kind. We've still got just the flanger on, so let's use this stretch thing. Let's put it all the way, and maybe we need a little bit less regen. I want something that's a little bit more kind of without gaps in it. That kind of thing. What about the other voice, which I think is a more complex texture? Yeah, definitely a richer texture, but for now let's keep it with the other voice because we want to hear the effects of the space bender clearly. Yeah, I think, do we want it a little bit more dense? Rate a little higher, maybe? Okay, I don't think we want more depth. I suspect that maybe we want the stretch a little bit closer together. Okay, with that, I think we can have more depth. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I had in mind. Let's try a slightly faster rate. There we go. I think that's interesting because it's got some nice peaks and valleys there, and it gives a good sense of what kind of textures the dweller can do. Let's just see how it sounds with the triangle wave. Yeah, a little bit more peaky. I think that the overall regen is fine. A little more depth. A little more. Yeah, okay. So we've got the dweller first with this. I'm going to turn up the regen so we've got a little bit more per. Nothing particularly surprising there. Something quite peaceful about that. Okay. Ooh, very nice. Let's flip the order. So now we've got the space bender going into the dweller. See, that gives us more harmonic content because of the flanger contribution. Oof. Yeah, increasing the speed there. Let's see if we just let it run. I mean, that definitely gives us a stronger feel of what the rhythm of the dweller here is, but not as interesting as what we were doing before with just the single notes like that. Okay. Well, this brings us to another thing that we wanted to do, where we have hold on. There were two things that we wanted to do, and it's uncertain what is best for us to do first. Tell you what we're going to do before we jump into those. We're actually going to change our sample. We're going to turn off both of these guys, and to give us a little bit more range than we've been having, we are going to switch to a full range sample. This is the sample. Oops, excuse us. So that's our sub-bass range. Bass. And the previous mid-range. Low mids. And then back down again. Through the bass. And then we're back to the beginning again. So I mean, this is kind of the basis for a piece in its own right. Let's switch the order again. Back to where it was kind of a bit more obvious, with the flanger applied to the I mean, this is also very pretty, but it's not as interesting as what we had going on before. Okay, now the two things that we were wanting to try to finish off were, first of all, to have the Space Bender set up in some kind of chorus effect, and to see how that sounds before and after the dweller in this kind of this kind of more textural sound, and to have them both doing a kind of like delayed thing, the heavily modulated delay that the Space Bender does before and after the kind of effect that the dweller does. So let's start with the chorusy sound, because we've kind of got something nice going on here with the dweller, I think, which is currently first. So let's find a nice chorus tone for the Space Bender, and I think for that we're going to go back to our previous sample because it's easier to hear that kind of thing in the low mids, I find. Although it can be very impactful down low, effective and impactful. Okay, so like a chorusy kind of tone. I think that the kind of area will be that's a bit more, yeah, that's a bit more than just chorus. There we go. Again, very beautiful, but not really chorusy. That's the kind of thing I got in mind. Obviously that's too much. But very pretty. Let's see if envelope changes anything there. Definitely more interesting with the LFO for our needs right now. Let's try something like that. I mean, it's a bit more intense than what one would expect from chorus. How about this, actually? Again, a bit more than chorus. Okay, we need to settle on something quite quickly now. Ooh, that's nice. A little bit faster. Okay, I'm just going to try noon and noon. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's go back to our full range sample. And first of all, we've got our dweller first, followed by the space bender. First of all, this is what the dweller is up to. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like a slapback. Again, it's like the flanger, where it's like the delay has got whatever quality is going. Is that correct? Hold on. No, we've got the dweller going into the space bender. So the space bender is the more consistent of the two. Let's change the order and see how that sounds. Yeah, and then going back to the dweller first. Let's give it some more definition with the square wave. Changing order again. Okay. Switching them back so that the dweller is first. It's kind of like the opposite as it was when the space blender was being used more like a flanger, because like at that point it was nice having the harmonic content of the flanger contributing to the dweller's sustain. But in this situation, it's actually quite nice to have the space bender's chorusy, swirly kind of bendiness. It's nice to have that after the effect of the dweller. Okay, now the final thing that we wanted to try, having come to some kind of conclusion there, is to have both of them set up with some kind of delay. So essentially we've got two delays going on. And for that, with the space bender at least, we want it times 10, and we want it maximum speed. Oops, it seems we've got that still on. The interesting thing about the space bender is that the depth also seems to contribute to the length of the delay. Okay, let's keep it relatively tame for now in terms of the modulation depth. I can't resist. Okay, for now we're just going to keep it kind of like this kind of range, so it's more like a short modulated delay. There we go. And then we've got our dweller effect. Now, currently the dweller is first and the space bender second. So let's see how this sounds. Very nice texture. Let's shorten that just a little. It's nice having that bendiness. Second. Very pleasant texture. Okay, let's flip that loop. Once this has... so that means the space bender will be first and the dweller second. Interesting. It's much more of a washy kind of texture that you get from the dweller. Whereas when it's the other way round, okay, very interesting. I mean, just very different effects. With the dweller, with the space bender first, of course the dweller is going to be much more washy. But with the dweller first, then because we also have some of the dry signal in the space bender, there's generally a more contrasting texture to the thing. Yeah. Now, at this point, I'm pretty sure that we have the space bender first. And let's have a little bit of fun, just to finish off. Hehehehe. I don't think we need the intensity. And then into the dweller. Oof. Nice. What if we use the square wave? Interesting. With a slightly shallower texture. Yeah, clearly there's a lot that could be explored here. But with that washiness of the space bender going into the dweller. Let's try it the other way round, where the dweller goes into the space bender. That's lovely too. Okay, I'm just gonna let the whole sample run, I think, and see how that sounds. Flip it round. Well, lovely stuff. I hope that has been as interesting and enjoyable for you as it has been for me. I've certainly learned some things about how I like these two pedals interacting, with the way that the flanger going into the texture dweller is preferable to the flanger after, just because it makes the flanger a little bit more subtle and uses its changes in a less obvious way. Like, it uses the variation that it gives in a more in a less obvious way, a more subtle way. But on the other side of things, the chorus after the dweller effect was really nice. Yeah, food for thought here. It would be lovely to have these in different chains for my pedal board, so that they could be combined in these different ways for the different textures, which is something we think may be possible. Well, thank you for sticking around, assuming that you have. And once again, I hope this was interesting and enjoyable for you too. Please join us again if you're able, and in the meantime, stay well.